Good evening. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your financial market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for the evening of Monday, the 9th of December, 2024, about 6:50 p.m. Central Time. Sorry I couldn't make it with you this weekend. Family commitments had to get running, and these are free. My subscribers got their updates and everything else that should have gone to them, though. All right. So you wake up, obviously you don't wake up, over the weekend you hear that the Syrian government has fallen. There's a new government trying to be formed. You're hearing about Israeli strikes going throughout the country, taking out what they believe are weapon depots and chemical and missile parts. The United States sending in our aircraft and other means and trying to take out ICE parts. Yes, because ISIS is still there. And now the question is, how do you take out enough things so that you're not giving to the new government all the arms that Assad had? That's an awful lot of arms. So everybody being Israel and the United States, in this case, attacking these different things to, if the region's going to go up as a problem, because so far it's been peaceful and we've all got our fingers crossed that for the Syrian people, whatever government comes in, they're a peaceful government. You're done with all that craziness under Assad. We will find out. I don't know enough about any of the current players. There's 5 or 6 factions, as I understand it, to give you any words of wisdom about this. I've got my fingers crossed that it's a lot better than it was and that these people can do something positive. What I don't like is obviously they're on the U.S. terror list. I don't like that the head of the main faction, there's a bounty on his head from the United States. There's reasons for that. So you've got to show me why he should come off of that and prove the issue. Then you have China. So China has its big meeting coming up this week. Remember, I've been prepping you that they're going to have to now take what they've said they do from fiscal and monetary policy and implement it. This is now the 2-day meeting coming up. I believe it starts Wednesday, it ends on Friday, and we find out what they're doing. They're letting out little pieces. One of the pieces, and it set the metal markets on fire this morning, was they're loosening monetary policy, and they went back in, and for the first time in 6 months, they began, and I'm talking they being the central bank there, People's Bank of China, went in and they bought more gold, and they're starting their purchases from the looks of things again. You at first had a rally on all the markets because of it, but you're giving some up tonight, and that's probably where you're at. Now, you also have this week, and get ready for it, this is a big week. You've got U.S. CPI, you got U.S. PPI, and you have 5 to 7 major central banks, European Central Bank, the Swiss National Bank, Australia, I can go on, that are setting monetary policy this week. And then next week we go, the Bank of England's coming. So it's a big time. But these are the last 2 big reports that we get before our central bank makes its decision. The market still widely believes that you're going to see our bank cut 1/4 point in December, not do anything in January, but we get the dot plots and we'll all be going through that. And the market is widely expecting that the European Central Bank will make a cut, whether it's 25 or 50 basis points. Don't know, and Bank of Australia expected to sit pat. Whew, need breath of air with that. When you look at the S&P, you're down a fraction early on. So you're down 0.6 for the week so far. Today's first day of the week. The market's been coming up. It's still not getting those big explosion days like you had here. The market's more restrained. But this is the time frame that you want to study this. Now, on my website now, it is, like I said, I began this about 6:50. At about 6:25 p.m. Central Time, I put up a special report on the S&P as it relates to the Santa Claus rally. When does the rally begin? Traditionally, and what's another date that it begins? When does it end? Traditionally, and other dates that you use with it. I give it all to you, then I give you the data, how the market's done, going back, in some cases, 50 years. show you the different charts, show it to you from different seasonal perspectives, and tie it together for you as best as I can. So I expect a small decline right now. You go look at the report and you will find out. IraEpstein.com, top left, you can't miss it. It'll say Stock Index Report. Give it a click and away you can go in there. So you can see where you're at with all this. Market pulling back a little bit. Could it pull back to the 18-day average? It could. Doesn't have to, but it could. That'd be about, I don't know, 45-point break from where you're at right now, roughly. The market's having a bit of trouble at the upper Bollinger Band, but it's not falling apart. It's still acting on good stead there. You have not yet lost the bullish embedded reading, but if it does, it then tells me that the odds are strong. Price and the 18-day average coming together. Don't lose it. You don't have to go that far, and we'll see what happens. Because you had a down day on a Monday, you often try to get a Tuesday reversal. So be aware of that. In the NASDAQ, you can see what you got up to. Right up to the Bollinger Band, bingo, and the market backed away immediately. That's what I'd expect. Again, an embedded reading. But you don't have that in the Dow. And today I recognized it, and in my morning update, I made other adjustments to that, and I'm happy I did. I wrote down in my newsletter at 11:30 today that I expected the market to go back now and not hold or the early part of the day, but to fall back towards the 18-day average. I'm exactly there right now, and this is where the market sits. But unlike the S&P and the NASDAQ, you have a higher high, lower low, and because you lost the bullish embedded reading, you've hit your objective. I'm not saying it has to go further. I'm saying the pizzazz in the market is gone, and the same thing has been happening in the Russell. It's just been sitting here. None of these are bearish. They're just not bullish right now, and they're fighting the two that are still up to stay up. As we come over to the 10-year notes, you can see how the market's down. It's not out. It still has the bullish embedded reading, just barely. Will it keep it into the CPI, PPI reports will be the interesting part. Same thing could be said of the 5-year note. Then we get to the dollar, which dropped down on Friday. Let me take that back. Friday, hit the Bollinger Band, and you get your bounce right off that, which is so typical what it does. It's also oversold as it hit it. The trend is down, but the downside target, the first target has been hit. Other targets are way down here, 103.50, 103.07. You'd have to get some piece of real bearish action to get that going. It could happen, but I don't know what that action would be. You're overbought. I view any reading when you get a slow stochastic over 70 is overbought. Typically, overbought action does not get people coming into the market with new money the way I teach charting. Doesn't mean that your system says, nah, that's not the case. That's what I teach. I'm looking for support right here at 105.39. There'd be a problem if we came through these lows, but right now the trend is up and the bias is up. You don't fight City Hall. I expect the British pound to have great difficulty between right here up to the 200-day average. Think of how far it has fallen from when we were talking here. I remember I was telling people at 132, I think it was going to drop down, and it did. Now, the market has broken that pattern. So this is the rally pattern, and once you got through right here, that broke the whole pattern. So I view this as a short covering pattern. Could be fresh buying in the market, but you're overbought, not embedded. I think you're running out of time. In Bitcoin, the market from here has just said, hey, we got up to 105,300, come in and buy me, and immediately you're out in the neighborhood $7,000 as it fell instantly back to the 18-day average to hold it. But the pattern is still bullish. You have higher lows and higher highs. Now, I think that is still over that one, but it wouldn't matter. The market's got to work everything out. I want to see more action. I want it to churn here for the next levels that it's going to go up to. And yes, I think it will go up to other levels. I think the market has cleared all kinds of hurdles here, and the fear of missing out has happened. Traders are buying. It's got over $2 trillion in assets. I'm amazed that the Federal Reserve isn't counting it as an asset class. $2 trillion in it sort of tells me they should be. When you look at Brent crude, you have a higher high, lower low. I don't know what to do with that. The market's down here. You saw the Saudis over the weekend cut the price of Asian oil dramatically, back to the lows that they had, I think, in 2021, January of them. So this was quite a break, about 80 cents a gallon. On it, and it's what 80 cents, not a barrel, a gallon. And that took the market. But what they're trying to do probably is get market share and find out what the demand point is out of different areas. OPEC meets tomorrow. They're doing a virtual meeting. I understand they're not going to say a word about production, that it's going to be who they're going to choose as the next Secretary General of OPEC, and it'll be a short meeting. That's at least the word that I'm hearing from the sources I pay attention to. Higher high, lower low, and the market just sort of drifting still right there. Heating oil. So we get all this cold, and there's another cold wave blast about to come in, a big one. It comes into the Midwest around Thursday. Be ready for that. Wouldn't surprise me if you get up and start fighting the battle at the 18-day average of closes as the market starts building that in. Natural gas heard that and it jumped today off that news in good part, and it's not really able to go anywhere. I'm waiting to get sell signals in this market. You typically nosedive between now and January, so we'll see if that happens. So you put it together, you try to come up with game plans for yourself, and I have one for you. Take a look at our report. Remember, tomorrow you do have the National Federation of Business. They're going to come out at 5 in the morning. We're going to get the third quarter revised non-farm productivity data. That comes out at 7:30. Here's the parts they're looking for. The most interesting is labor costs are expected to go up 1.2% compared to the 1.9 in the advanced third quarter report. And Redbook Group will come out with their weekly retail sales, and that's at 7:55. Again, you can move your cursor to the top up here if you want to. There'll be an icon you can click to get to our website, or just simply go to iraepstein.com, look on the top left, and the report will be there. I'm Ira. You take care.